Hey guys, Michael here. Hope that you're all doing great today. So, a couple things to talk about with this campaign, or I should say with this video, because what I am hoping to do in this video is continue this campaign that I started with Isabella, which was really a way to illustrate some of the many changes that the Hecleas Grand Strategy Overhaul mod makes to the game. I just thought there's so much in this mod that maybe the easiest or the most sensible way to try to show a lot of it is to actually illustrate it in campaign. Now, we did a lot of that in that first episode, and probably the longer this campaign goes on, the harder it's going to be to continually show fresh content in terms of additional changes that we haven't already talked about. So I'm going to play this a little bit longer and hope that we can, get a little bit of extra value out of it, but I don't exactly know what the best approach is going to be in terms of trying to show all the different changes in this overhaul mod. So if any of you have any ideas about things that you'd like for me to particularly show off, then I'll be happy to try to accommodate that. But for at least for now, I'm going to continue this campaign. But a couple things I wanted to talk about. First of all is this campaign, which I only started less than a week ago, it did happen prior to some really dramatic changes happening to the overhaul mod. So first thing I'm going to do here is jump into the actual Steam page where Hecleas, as you can see, has introduced a lot of new changes just in the last several days. So yeah, this that first episode was recorded in between this October 4 and October 25, and since then there's been all this. So I'm not going to read through all this in detail, but I'm going to read these headings, and if you're interested in more detail, of course, check out the mod page for yourself. But I'll go ahead and do them in the same order that he introduced them. So you've got here AI economy rebalance, ranged realism, and projectiles. Now this is something that I want to get more of a better feel for, which I'll get more into in just a minute, but some questions have come up about this. AI expansion and diplomacy. Then the next one, Lords and Heroes stat balance. So this right here is going to be kind of it's kind of interesting because most of this overhaul are like vanilla mechanics that have been made more difficult without a whole lot of stat changes, but this right here is obviously a stat change. Then we have AI expansion penalty, AI unit caps and supply adjustments, and then all the way up here to the most recent couple of them here. We have MCT integration and multiplayer support added, simple MCT toggles added for auto-end battle, and disabled building system. This is an interesting one right here because I myself said before, I don't know how I feel about the game automatically ending as soon as army losses kicks in and the end battle button pops up. However, I've kind of gotten used to it now and kind of have come to appreciate that I'm not wasting time trying to run downfling units anymore. But anyway, the option is there now for people who want to continue to do that, which I may do off and on, I'm not sure yet. And disabled building system in settlement battles. Obviously, one I'm a big fan of not being able to do the buildables, but he allows that to be toggleable as well. So this is very nice. All modules now include MCT options and are safe for multiplayer campaigns. Now, I will say I haven't played any multiplayer. I don't play very much multiplayer in general, but I haven't played any multiplayer with this overhaul, so I can't really speak to whether or not that is working. Please, if you have your own experience with it since this October 27 update came out, then please do feel free to comment as well. Anyway, new climate system. Every race gains or loses mobility depending on terrain. That's going to be interesting to check out. And we've got combined with cultural and composition bonuses, every march feels unique. So this is going to be quite interesting. And then we have finally new mechanic AI tactical planner overhaul, brand new system added to the mod, fully reworking how the AI plans and reacts in battle. I'm going to read this one in detail because this is really interesting here. The script AI planner now behaves more like a human commander, dynamically reacts to enemy movement and morale, excuse me, I can't talk today, reevaluates tactical orders every few seconds, smarter patrols, formations, and reinforcements, cohesive defenses, and faster pursuit decisions. The result is a new layer of battlefield intelligence, faster, sharper, and far more believable. So that's the hope going in. My playing right now is going to be part of my attempt to test that. Another thing I want to check out here, this is my video from a couple of days ago. Appreciate all the feedback that people provided. I'm not going to read through all of these, but I am going to mention just a couple of the questions that came up. So, for example, there's an interesting discussion here back and forth about whether or not it's even worth it to try to introduce more difficulty mods. Obviously, some people are of the opinion that the game stinks. There's no reason to try to make it difficulty because it only results in more cheese and so on and so forth. I mean, it's fine. That's valid if that is your opinion. I think an awful lot of us don't fall into that category. I do personally believe there are ways to make this game more difficult, but at the same time, make it more realistic, which is what I'm looking for. I don't really believe in making a game, arbitrarily more difficult just for the sake of it being more difficult, but rather if it's being done in a way that's realistic or lore friendly or thematic, whatever, then that's something I'm always interested in doing. So I really think that's what this mod and many of the others that I have talked about on this channel are all about. So anyway, obviously that's an individual decision whether or not you think that it's worth it to try to include mods that make the campaign more difficult. But personally, I don't think the vanilla game is difficult enough. And if we can introduce mods that make the game more difficult while at the same time doing so in a realistic way, and quite frankly, often being more realistic than vanilla, I'm all for that. Anyway, a few of the other things that came up. This is a question that came up that I actually think is a really good one, which is related to ammo. So the replenishment is very impactful in this Overhaul mod. And one thing that kind of feels then maybe a little bit out of balance is since your melee units tend to take so many more casualties in battle, but your ranged units replenish their entire stock of ammunition after every battle. That is a big advantage for ranged units. So perhaps Hecleas could consider a way to do, I think other mods do this as well, to make it so that you don't fully replenish ammunition after every battle. Something to think about anyway. Another one has just been talking about exaggerated damage of ranged weapons. That is certainly it's something that I don't have enough experience with, but they do feel strong. So it could very well be that there is some tuning that the mod could benefit from moving forward. Question came up about the Hecleas AI overhaul and also the AI battle changes. Both of those are included in this Grand Strategy mod, and it includes those. You don't want to activate those separately. And then one of the other things that came up is ambushes. So going back to here to our current campaign, if we look all around the map here, ambush success chance 90% in the trees. But then when we look around all of the non-tree terrain, it's always at 0%. I'm going to assume that that is intentional, that it's harder to have an ambush in non-forest terrain. And let me see if I can get a good sense over here in the mountains somewhere. Yeah, it's higher than 0%, but lower than it is in the forest. To me, that feels okay, but the question did at least come up of whether or not this 0% everywhere on the roads and in the open fields is intentional or is the best design. I haven't really played enough to pass judgment on that. It seems like 0% is awfully low, but obviously I do appreciate that it makes more sense to have a higher chance in the forest and in mountains and such. So anyway, something to continue to keep an eye on. And I think those are the main things that I wanted to talk about before getting back into this campaign. So if that is all you're interested in, are just those early topics, the rest of this may not be of interest to you because this is just going to be me continuing on with the campaign. Now, one thing that I did decide to do, that first episode, I did that on normal to get a baseline for how the game plays on normal mode. And to be honest with you, I'm not exactly sure what all the differences are between, let's go ahead and jump into the options here, between these different difficulty settings, because obviously the mod changes the AI cheats and things like that, which are normally very much affected by this campaign difficulty setting. So what I'm going to do is I played one episode there on normal. I'm going to bump this up now to hard, apply these changes. I'm going to do an episode on hard. If I keep going beyond this, I'll do an episode on very hard, and then I'll just move up to legendary, and we'll see if we can tell any difference. Let me just go ahead and show here. The other things that I have set, the battle difficulty was already set to very hard. And correct me if I'm wrong, you can't actually change unit stats at this point, right? The AI stats modifier is already set to 0. I don't think I can change them at this point. So we'll just have to live with that. Anyway, the mod definitely makes some things harder, so we'll see how exactly it plays out as we adjust the campaign difficulty setting. All right, finally, back into it. Let's go ahead and just recap really quickly. We've taken Castle Tempelhof. We did this with a manual battle. We fought a couple of auto-resolve battles to illustrate both in that first episode. I did want to point out that normally when I play a vanilla campaign of Isabella, I'm pretty sure you can take Castle Tempelhof pretty easily on turn 2. We weren't able to take it until turn 4. The main reason for that being that your campaign movement is very much reduced. So here's the illustration of it right here. Dynamic movement speed minus 34% right now with a size 17 army. So yeah, it's definitely meaning slower movement around the campaign map. Not going to appeal to everybody. I very much like it because it makes strategy more relevant. You can't just basically hop from one settlement to the next turn after turn. There's going to be some places where you can, like we can probably, yeah, we'll be able to reach Fort Oberstyre here in a single turn, but for the most part, like we could not get from Eschen to Castle Tempelhof in a single turn. That really changes the way strategy plays out in a Warhammer game, so in a Total War game in general. So yeah, that's why we just now took Castle Tempelhof, even though it is already turn 4. Okay, now what are we going to do here with Isabella? It's very difficult for me to turn down the hunger, and it's also very hard for me to turn down Invocation of the Hex, so we'll do those. Vlad von Karstein, again, I think you've already got the hunger. We'll give you Invocation of the Heck. Let me just double check and make sure our Dark Retinue effects are the same as they are in vanilla, I believe. That looks pretty familiar to me. And stats here, they look pretty similar as well. Although health, I believe he did say that your hit points are lower now for your characters, your single entities maybe in general. I'm not exactly sure how much this has changed, but could very well be that that's much lower now. And then finally we have our vampire, and this is obviously a huge impact then to an Isabella campaign, because she relies very heavily on vampire heroes. So if they are nerfed a little bit, that's going to make her campaign more difficult, which frankly is a good thing, because her campaign in vanilla is frankly a little bit too easy, I think. So now we have a Vampire of Death here, Fleet-Footed, Speed, Strider, Wayfarer. I think with you maybe we'll go a little heavy on the melee with you. And then we're going to be recruiting some more vampires as soon as we can with... Yes, okay, so we now have the mausoleum built here, so we should be able to recruit some vampires if we had more money. Ooh, hello. Wasn't expecting this, so this has got to be something new with the campaign, or with the overhaul as well, because we have no vampire heroes to recruit. Okay. Well, that's definitely going to change in Isabella campaign fairly dramatically. We'll have to just check that every turn and see what happens. Okay. Meanwhile, then, apologies, by the way, if I still have a little bit of a congestion sound. All right, let's go ahead and obviously boost our income, and we'll boost our income even more. We've got an income boost here and a growth boost here. That's probably okay. We're doing growth and construction cost there. That's fine. So what we need to do... we need to take Fort Oberstyre and Waldenhof, or alternatively make peace with Tempelhof, who probably at this point would accept it if we wanted to. Normally I would never do this. Normally I would just go ahead and conquer them. In fact, I probably still will, although they're offering 4,000. Well, I think what we'll do... this army is going to be strong enough to certainly take Fort Oberstyre next turn. But normally what I would count on doing is getting some more vampires into this army by the time I'm up there attacking Waldenhof, and that's going to be potentially impossible to do. Well, we're not going to make peace yet, because at the very least we can get this. And we'll see where... I'm sure they will recruit in a new lord. We'll see where, and we'll see if it takes too long for us to get from Fort Oberstyre back over here, because we're probably looking at 3 turns after next turn, so really 4 turns from now before we'll be able to take Waldenhof. That might be a challenge. They've got the garrison building built there, and if they recruit a lord and start recruiting an army, that might be a challenge. Anyway, let's go ahead and move on here. Our research rate at 75% right now. Again, another change in the mod, I believe. So what we're going to do is... I think I'm going to go Blood Kiss and Growth. This growth, I think... didn't that used to be growth plus 10? So that's nerfed a little bit as well. So I think a lot of times we're going to be seeing things like technology nerfed. Technology effects nerfed, I should say. And... we have 0 money left. I just checked my diplomacy. No reason to do that again. Okay, I think we're ready to move on to our next turn here. Actually, you know what I need to do is I need to make sure... this is one difference with Isabella compared to some of the other campaigns that I've played with this mod. She is only at war with the same enemy that she starts at war with in vanilla, whereas some of your other legendary lords start at war with multiple enemies. Okay, that's good. So what they did is they recruited the new lord, did some raise dead apparently as well, recruited the new lord here in Fort Oberstyre, which is where we wanted them to. That's a little bit less of a defense for Waldenhof, whereas we can definitely overpower this army this turn. And we've got some wars declared that I don't really care about right now. Our replenishment, by the way, I was wondering how I was getting replenishment when I was sieging Castle Tempelhof, and I had forgotten, of course, that the vampire counts in Channeling Stance get replenishment in foreign territory since they don't have an encampment stance. So that's something I just have to remember. And we can indeed reach Fort Oberstyre, so that's good. We'll go ahead and do that in just a moment. I don't think there's any need to do any additional recruiting here. I might even want to do some merging. I guess not. There's not really... like, if I had 2 zombies that were half strength, maybe I would do it, but I don't. So, alright, let's go ahead and we'll do this. Now, I'm going to go ahead and fight this. This should be, I would think, an easy win for us, but I want to see how the AI, I forget now how he described it in the on the mod page, but the scripts or whatever that changes the tactical planner, I think is what it's called, how if we can notice any differences at all in how they fight. So we do just have a regular wide open field here. Let's go ahead and fight it. All right, so as we deploy here now, we've got two types of units here. This is pretty normal for the vampire counts. They've got a wide disparity between the effectiveness of their units between the trash units, which are really, really, you know, other than maybe Skaven slaves, these are some of the worst units in the game and don't do very much, versus the characters and some of the monsters are quite strong. So we've got some, I'm going to call this team number 1 here, single entities. Let's include the Black Coach. These are our single entities who are obviously going to be quite strong. Then we're going to have Team 2, oops, right here. Team 2 are going to be the somewhat decent, well, they're actually more than somewhat decent. These are reasonably good melee infantry troops right there. And then, actually, I can include... I'm actually going to not include this Graveguard unit just because he has taken a lot of damage. And you know what this, the same thing with this Karen Wraith unit. So our 9s, we want them back here and out of the fight. Then we're going to take the units that are pretty expendable. I'm going to go ahead and include the Crypt Ghouls in that as well. We'll put them all up here. So I don't really care if they die, and that kind of includes the Fell Bats as well. Okay. So we'll put the Fell Bats on 6, and we'll put these expendables on 3. Start the battle. Let's get our 3s moving forward. Let's get our 1s moving up here, and our 2s over here. Let's see how they react to them. I just want to kind of watch them and see if they do anything much differently than what we would expect. So far, no. The answer so far is no. Okay, 1s are in place. I'm going to well, some of the 1s are in place. I'm going to keep moving the 1s up here. Again, these are the guys that are going to do the heavy lifting for us. These guys are good units who can hold their own, and then these are guys who really can't hold their own, but they're expendable, so we don't care if we lose them. Okay, I think what we'll do, let's probe a little bit here. Maybe send... Okay, these Karen Wraiths are way faster than our other single entities, so I'm going to fast forward and wait for everybody to form up the lines. For that matter, I could use some magic, except all I have is healing magic. No, here we go. Here's one. Let's see how they react to a Spirit Leech. Okay, they're coming forward. 2s, let's start getting the 2s over here. And the 3s, let's start getting you all over here. Okay, our 1s, let's go ahead and get Isabella and Vlad just charging on in. And you can charge on in. I don't see any spears over here. The support, of course, with the Black Coach. Their Lord took a little bit of damage, but not very much. Now let's just put the 3s here. Let's put them on locked control group so they pick a target, and then the same thing with the 2s. Locked control group, you all can pick a target. Our 1s now, I think I'm going to save my Winds of Magic for healing. Our 6s can come forward. Now, do we see They're supposed to be, okay, like right here. Let's get these spears in on those dire wolves, and let's see if they how they react to that. These skeletons can get in on those skeletons, that's fine. Okay, so we've pinned down those dire wolves, critical binding, they look like they're in trouble. What about our 2s over here? I want you to flank around a little bit. 6s. Let's get you coming in to help on those dire wolves. They're about to break anyway. Okay. Right here, we don't really need any healing, but I'm going to go ahead and throw one on this Vampire of Death. And then I'm going to try to get another Spirit Leech off on the enemy lord there. Okay, our 2s. You've kind of gotten bogged down there. I don't know, it's a little bit hard to tell at this point. This probably isn't the best battle to really get a sense of whether tactically these things are going to behave much differently. The Black Coach needs to pull out a little bit. He's taking a tiny little bit of damage there. Okay, let's go ahead and get a heal on him. Alright, let's go ahead and bring these fell bats around behind. They can hit those skeletons from behind. How are we doing over here with our flanking Graveguard? Critical binding there. Let's go ahead and hit them from behind. Let's go ahead and start maybe actually using our abilities. I'm not sure why I wasn't doing that before now. But that should help.
Victory is mine!
Okay, you can pull back out now.
Yes!
Black Coach is fighting Fellbats, that's fine. The Black Coach can handle those Fellbats. Excuse me, I'm going to cough. Alright.
Your desire?
Okay. I think we've got things pretty well in hand. We'll go ahead and charge again here. This has taken a long time, but that's, you know, the mod does definitely slow down battles, no question about it. Okay. Got those Fellbats taken care of. Let's finish off these dire wolves. You're doing just fine. You... Let's go ahead and have our vampire fight. Actually, let's have all of our characters fight these zombies here in the middle. Actually, you know, try to punch through. If we can punch through and get to the enemy lord, that would be good. That would be wunderbar. Okay, it looks like we're just kind of winning everywhere right now, so I'm just going to speed things up a little bit here and allow our superiority to do some more damage to them. Isabella has broken through and is now fighting Vlad and Isabella together, plus the vampire fighting against the enemy lord there. Okay. I think we're just about done here. We may as well finish him off. There we go. He's disintegrating. Everybody's disintegrating. Okay. Not the most challenging battle in the world. Alright, so I couldn't exactly show just how much difference the tactical planner is making. That was a little bit of an overwhelming advantage for us, but you can at least get a sense of that how a field battle is definitely going to play out slower than a vanilla field battle normally would, which again, your mileage may vary. Some people may like that, some people don't. Personally, I like it because the vanilla game feels a little bit too much like a click fest, whereas you know you don't really use some of the tactics that I would expect to be quite useful in a normal tactical game. Okay, anyway, Banner of Eternal Flame. Let's go ahead. Well, I'll assign it next time we attack somebody. For now, we're going to go ahead and occupy this. Now, what I thought about doing is, and normally I would do this in vanilla, but if you take when you take Castle Tempelhof in turn 2, you can recruit a second lord right there on turn 2, and then on turn 3, use your main army, but just sack Fort Oberstyre, and then use your second lord that you had just recruited to occupy it, because at that point the garrison will be empty. And then Isabella would normally then have some movement left where she could go ahead and start making her way towards Waldenhof. And in vanilla, you can get to Waldenhof then on turn 4. Now, obviously, we're not going to be able to do that in this campaign, which is why I didn't even really worry about recruiting the second lord there, not to mention money-wise, our money situation is not really conducive to doing that either. Okay, let's go ahead and give Isabella... I think I'm going to give her Beguile. I want to make her really strong in melee. Same thing with Vlad. And actually the same thing with our vampire here as well. Okay, and we did get a potion of Farsight. Hey, look, Hecleas is playing Warhammer 3. All right, enchanted item, potion of Farsight. Yeah, this is probably something I'm just going to end up selling at some point. But, you know, I guess it's better than nothing, so we'll give it to her for now. Okay, now with the money that we have, first thing we're going to do is we are going to demolish this barrow here. We don't really need that right now in Fort Oberstyre. We can't really afford to raise up another 20 stack, and the limited amount of recruiting that we're going to be doing, we can just go ahead and use the Raised Dead for it. Although, this is quite interesting. There's only a single Fellbat unit available here. That must be reduced as well. Now over here there are 6 units, including some Cairn Wraiths. So, and some Crypt Ghouls. So we'll probably do some Raised Dead when we get over here before we attack Waldenhof. So we don't really, in other words, we don't really need a recruitment building right now. I'd much rather replace that with a growth or economy building. And then over here we've got one economy building built and a second one almost done. That's fine. That all looks fine to me. We don't have enough money to be able to level up either of these, which is unfortunate. Normally I would be doing that probably, but we're definitely going to prioritize the major settlements, the provincial capitals. They're much easier to defend, and in a campaign using this Grand Strategy Overhaul mod, I suspect at some point we will get attacked in a way that I am unprepared for, which means we'll probably lose some of our minor settlements, so I'm not going to invest a whole lot of money in them. Okay, then we'll check our diplomacy. Okay, let's check this out. I'm not going to do it right now, but if we did want to peace out with Tempelhof, right now they would give us 5,200, which is pretty good. It's pretty good money. Boku money there. So what we're going to do is we're going to see how long it's going to take us to get to Waldenhof and whether or not this army is going to be capable of getting over there quickly enough to really take it before that replacement army. There's not one there right now, but they're going to recruit a lord next turn, and then they're going to have 2 turns probably of recruiting. We may not be able to take it with this army. We'll have to find out. If we can't, maybe we'll peace out with them later, and we'll probably end up getting a lot less money out of it, but I want to do that as a sort of a test. And also notice the replenishment here. I mean, we've got a vampire here, which is giving us this plus 6% campaign replenishment. We don't have any buildings that increase it. This still looks reasonably strong from a replenishment perspective. stronger than some of the other factions that I've played with Hecleas Grand Strategy, where the casualties are, you really feel them. They're much more painful because your replenishment is very much reduced, more so than is noticeable right now. Okay, so I think we're ready. No, before I do another in turn, I do want to check and see if there's any vampires yet. Yes, we have one. We have two. We have one of each. And they're pretty cheap to recruit, but they're expensive to maintain. Nevertheless, I'm going to go ahead and recruit both of these. And this is level 4 vampires that we can recruit here because of this landmark building right here. So this is the same. And then here in Death, we have Fleet-footed. I'm not going to recruit this one right now because it's not really the trait that I want on one of my vampire heroes. Let's go ahead and give you... I think I already have replenished troops with this one right here. So with Melissa Rotep there. So I'm not going to give Sybil replenished troops. Instead, I will... What's her trait again? Disciplined. Okay, so she's good. She's going to be good at melee as well. So we're going to make her a meleeer as well. There we go. Impassioned. Impassioned. And nothing else to give her. And then next turn I will check again. What I'm going to be very curious about is if, now that we have recruited the only Shadows vampire that was available, will there be another one next turn? Okay, let's end our turn. The AI here, once again, showing it does not know how to properly play one of its legendary lords. You do not want to move the changeling around in channeling stance like that. It's the only way you can lose a campaign as the changeling. Make yourself visible while you go into enemy territory. Okay. War's declared here. We've got, this is Drika and the Beastman. We've got Averland and Black Venom, don't care. Teeth Snatches and Carousal Crowd, don't really care at this point, although we might later. Now, we've got plenty of money. Again, I want to check the vampires. So we got a new one for Shadows. This is determined. I think I'll go ahead and recruit her and make her more of a caster vampire. Then, although, the thing to keep in mind with Isabella, let's take a look here at Isabella's trait. She makes every vampire better in melee. So I really am tempted to just lean into melee on all of them, but
you dare!
Might as well have at least one of them able to do some spell casting here. So we'll recruit, and then do I also have an additional Vampire of Death? I do. Okay. So we've got the Fleet-footed, which I wasn't crazy about. We could also now choose Dread Incarnate, which is enemy leadership reduction, causes terror, and Blight of Terrors. Leadership reduction. We'll take that.
Ready.
I like that.
Expand
And again, we're going to lean
borders.
into the melee. Okay. Now, next question. If we take Isabella, she's losing Winds of Magic every turn, which I do not love. How many turns away? We are 3 turns. It does look like we can come sort of the long way here. Sticking to the road, we should still be able to get there pretty easily in 3 turns. So this way we're going to keep our replenishment going, and then not you, but you Can you reach? Easily.
So be it. Descendant of
Did that just slow us down? I need to be careful about that as well. I do not want to add more units to this army, thus slowing down the movement speed, thus making it more than 3 turns before we can reach Waldenhof. But I think we're okay. And then the two of you,
Who wishes the red
like I said, you are the meleeer, right? No, you're the caster.
ready?
You're the meleeer. You are the caster.
My lord of death.
So we're gonna go. I quite like some of these debuff spells, so I think I'm going to end up probably taking all of them. So we're going to go the Enfeebling Foe, and it's kind of hard to say no to the Penumbral Pendulum as well, isn't it? Or maybe even Smoke and Mirrors here. Yeah, well, it's passive. I'm a fan of passive abilities. Okay, let's go ahead and do that. Building upgrade. Okay, so we do still have a little bit of money left. This is 970 income. Well, it's an extra 150. Sorry, it's 970 cost with a, was about 7 turns payoff. And then I could all, yeah, okay, never mind. I gotta build this here. And can I still afford this? Yes, I can. Okay. And then next turn, we'll still have enough money to recruit maybe one additional unit through Raise Dead. Okay, let's check our diplomacy really quickly. Well, we're still getting a lot of money out of them. That's actually even more than it was last turn. If we wanted to peace out right now, it's a lot of money, but they are currently our only enemy. Let's just really quickly here. This is going to be important. We need to start thinking about who the next enemy is going to be. First of all, how likely is it that somebody will declare war on us? Karak Kadrin is always a possibility. Zufbar is a possibility. And then we also have Draika and all of your Imperials who are a possibility. But right now, nobody's really jumping out at me as the obvious next enemy. I would not mind actually attacking Karak Kadrin to knock them down a peg, because I don't like a faction being this strong right next to us, a faction that is likely to get even stronger and will eventually declare war on us. So what that means is if after we take Waldenhof, if we have an opportunity to actually take Karak Kadrin, that might be something to consider, but we're still a couple turns away from having to worry about that. Oh, hello. How did I miss him? Okay, so we're going to have ourselves a battle here. This is a level 1 lord. Did he I don't know. We'll find out where he came from. Oh, you know what? He came from Waldenhof. That's where he came from, of course. Okay, this is fine. We will fight this, and win or lose. Well, assuming we lose, I assume he thinks he's got the advantage. And he probably does. He does have those criticals. He's got full strength units. There's not really a ton here that we're going to be able to do, but we'll find out what happens here. Let's fight the battle. Okay, so let's Oops, that was dumb. Michael, I didn't mean to do that yet. Okay, so we're backing up here. What I was going to say here. I'm so used to clicking on that first button for the Winds of Magic. Okay, we're falling back here. So what we're going to do is we're going to use our zombies on a really... Let's just see how the AI reacts to this, okay? We're going to spread our zombies out really wide, and then we're going to try to use our other units to flank. So I want to slow them... I want to bog them down with the zombies, basically, is what it comes down to. And then we're going to use our other units as flankers. Maybe don't go that far just yet. And you guys as well. You stop right here for now. Now the Lord is going to be a problem. Okay, what are they doing? This is weird. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and fast forward. This is certainly different than vanilla. There we go. They made some adjustments over there. So what we're going to do is we're sending this zombie unit towards them, and assuming that they do engage, then we're going to send these skeletons around the side. Actually, you know what? No, I'm going to bring them over here. This is interesting. They're definitely behaving differently than I would expect. Let's get our cavalry units over here. These zombies, I don't really know what they're doing over there. Eventually they're going to have to come towards us. Okay, right here. Boom. Get around behind. Get around behind. The zombies have locked up everybody over there. So that means the skeletons are going to swing around the flank. Okay, these, I want the dogs crashing in. I want the bats crashing in on their bats. Okay, I want you to hit these crypt ghouls from behind. Okay. Now, how are we doing here? I want you to... Nope, you get over there like that. Now, these zombies... Yeah, those zombies have locked up that unit. That's fine. So our only advantage, since they have superior units and basically greater numbers within those units, our only advantage was to try to outflank them by virtue of having more units. It looks like we're close to breaking some of them now. I do need to get some of my units out here. You pull back. You guys, you look like you're in kind of bad shape there. Let's get you over. You can attack here, and you guys can help out. Okay, we're fighting over there. We're fighting over here. Okay, right here. They're crumbling. That's a good sign. We're flanking those fellbats, but they don't seem to be too bothered by that. That's a problem. These zombies are doing their job. These zombies are doing their job. These zombies, I need you guys to bog down that enemy lord, if you can, guys. Okay, these zombies are not doing their job. Neither are these. Okay, here's where it's going to start to fall apart, I'm afraid. They're crumbling, though. Let's go ahead and pull you back. You keep applying the pressure on their back line there. Let's get you all... Well, I need to destroy those direwolves here. Let's get you all hitting... You can hit these fellbats. That's good. If we can wipe out that fellbat unit, that would be very good. These zombies doing their job over here. You guys are hitting those fellbats. I do need you. Come on. I withdrew you. I need you to charge in. We're about to lose this unit of zombies, unfortunately. However, you guys can charge in here. Come on. Crumbling, that's a good sign. Okay. However, you're now taking a lot of damage. Come on, crumble faster, guys. Okay. Over here, right here, we have Fellbats crumbling. Over here, this is not good. I need you guys to finish these Fellbats and then pull back. We're going to lose these zombies right here. Ouch. That's where it's all going to fall apart for us. Over here, these guys still doing their job. These guys right here, crumbling. These skeletons are about to start crumbling now. That's going to be bad. Down to 22 there, but here we go. We're losing everything here in the middle. Okay, pull back. Pull back. Warriors are rallying. I don't know which warriors they mean there. Let's get you. You can hit them from behind. Let's get you over here. You can hit them from behind as well. Okay, right here. Let's get you all on these Fellbats right here. Okay, go ahead and hit them. Maybe you can do some damage. It's a little bit hard to tell. Good binding. Probably not. We're probably going to lose that fight right there. But we should at least be able to wipe out a big chunk of his army. Now, unfortunately, this is, of course, going to mean that the dead rise again. So even units that he does lose in this fight are going to end up... Some of them are going to end up coming back to life. But it's okay. I don't really care that much about losing Eshin. Certainly we will be able to just take it right back with Isabella's army. You guys right here, I want you to outflank these Crypt Ghouls. Over here, how we doing? We didn't do nearly as much damage over there as I was hoping with the charge. Bats are pulling out. That's good. Okay, right here, we're in position. Go ahead and move around it just a little bit more. And then you all can do this as well. Let's try to do as much damage as we can to these Crypt Ghouls before we all get wiped out. You can see we've been losing this battle pretty consistently now for a while. And yet, we're not disintegrating all that quickly. So again, that's definitely something different for Hecleas Grand Strategy. But yeah, we're not doing anything to those Crypt Ghouls. Let's just go ahead and speed this up. We'll speed it up even more. There we go. Now it's going to start falling apart. Okay. Alright, so we only took out 3 of their units, and yeah, look what happened. All 3 of them got brought back. Very, well, I won't say it's very annoying, because it's really not very annoying, but it is somewhat amusing. Okay, certainly the worst possible luck we could have had. Now, they didn't take it. All they did was sack it. Interesting choice. And he's not even recruiting. Oh, yes, he is. Okay. And he actually moved closer to us, but I'm assuming he's still outside of our range. Let's go ahead and take a quick save here. No, he's not outside of our range. So, well, at the very least, we're going to be able to stop him from doing the recruiting, because no doubt he will retreat. So what we're going to do is we're going to move up to here. The reason we're going to do this in 2 steps will be apparent in a moment. I now want to move you into the army. Do we still have room? Yes, we do. 25%, in fact. And now you into the army.
By all means.
And the question is, will they retreat? I'm assuming the answer is yes. I'm starting to lose my voice, though, so I'm thinking of wrapping up this episode before we fight this battle.
I'll have your soul.
There's the 3 units that we wiped out that came back. This not really that big of a deal. We don't even have to waste any time to take it back. Let me just check over here. Nothing really to do over here. Okay, yeah, we're still more or less on the schedule with our original plans, other than the fact that in vanilla you would be taking Waldenhof on turn 4, and here we are in turn 7. We're not going to be able to take it until turn 8, but I don't think that Tempelhof is going to be able to do anything to stop us. So again, overall, the campaign. Just to recap some of the biggest differences, when we fight the battles, we cannot see what the results of auto-resolve are. The battles themselves are certainly slower, but just saying that they're slower doesn't do justice to all the changes to the battles. I could tell that the AI behaved differently in that battle. What I can't tell is whether or not it behaved more effectively. Just going to have to get a whole lot more battles under my belt before I can make that kind of a judgment. And yeah, anyway, I'll go ahead and leave things there. As always, feel free to leave your comments, questions. I'll do my best to answer them. I do know that Hecleas drops in every once in a while to look at videos here as well, and he may see comments as well. So I'll just leave it at that, and I'll see you guys in the next video. I mean, if there's no interest in me continuing this campaign, maybe I'll start a different one up. Unfortunately, one thing with Isabella and the Vampire Counts is this is not really a very good campaign to show off or even to test out the changes to ranged units. So maybe a different faction would have been a better choice from that perspective. But anyway, if you guys have any suggestions or particular things that you want to see, please go ahead and leave those in the comments. And at this point, I'll wrap up and say I'll see you guys in the next video.